Woo! I hope you guys have had a good week. I will start off by saying apologies if you can hear anything. My window's open, so you might be able to hear the birds or some cars going past or my neighbours in their garden. But it is just that because my window is open. So as I say, I hope you've had a really good week. I hope you're kind of adjusting to being at home a little bit more. I know it's a bit strange, but we're all in it together, don't forget that. And I also am going to say, as I haven't heard from any of you actually, I hope that means that no news is good news and that you're all working very hard on last week's lesson about thinking of what props are needed and making sure that you've got the newest version of the script printed out. And don't forget, if you can't find that version, you can just email B. So do please remember as well that once you have done your props list, I would really like it. I'm just going to get my charger. Sorry about that, guys. My laptop battery was about to die there. Wouldn't have been ideal. Okay, so where was it? So I think I was saying, so please remember that once you have done this, I would just like to see your props list. So please just forward it on to Fee, who will forward it on to me. And then if you are still interested in making props, if you are still interested in making props, then please do let me know. So this week I'd like you to think about what other things might be important information for the book. Now, I keep going on and on and on and on and on about this book. Now, the book, for those of you who don't know, the book is officially known as the Prompt Book. Okay, so this book is the thing that essentially makes the show happen. So it's the thing that means that people know what lighting needs to happen, the music, the sound, making sure all of those work at the right time, making sure the tech people know what they're doing. It also, essentially, if we didn't have this book, performers wouldn't be able to perform to the standard that they do perform. Because it would mean that they'd be able to perform, but there'd be no lighting, there'd be no music, there'd be no nothing. So it makes the book makes the world go round in terms of performer speak. That's it. So we just need to think about what sort of things go into that book. So what I would like you to think about, a very, 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 very important thing that needs to go into the book are stage directions. So if you don't know your stage directions, or you're not completely 100% confident, then you need to look those up and make sure you know them like the back of your hand, like it's an extra limb, like you should know your, like, as well as you should know your times tables, as well as tying up a shoe. You need to know them 100%, and I'm not just talking about stage left, stage right, centre stage, downstage, upstage. I'm talking about all the ones on the sides and all the random ones. There are kind of 9 very important ones. And then there's probably the odd few that people don't really consider. So have a think. And if you don't know, then there are plenty of resources online that you can find to make sure that you know all of these stage directions. Okay? Go. Okay? Also, what I will say is, whilst we are putting the book together and making sure that it is as correct as it can be, we are not calling the show. So what I mean by calling the show is when people have the cans on. So the cans are the little radio that you've got around your trousers, and then you've got the headphones and the little mic there. So I will be wearing one of those. I don't know if you guys will be wearing one of those, but so people shout out of those cans or speak out of those cans if they're on the prompt desk with the book, and they might say LXQ1, LXQ2, LXQ3, and what LXQ is lighting Q, lighting Q1, lighting Q2, lighting Q3, or sound effects. Okay, so that's what, when they're saying calling the show, those are the sorts of cues that they mean. So I've linked kind of a page that will be in your lesson plan rather than on YouTube, a lesson plan, a website, sorry, that kind of explains those things, and it's just a very brief explanation of what the prompt book is, because I've probably not explained it very well. So it's all on there, so just have a look, and of course if you want to do more research into it, do it, why not? Okay, but as I say, you need to know stage directions, so just go look those up. And that is essentially it. So the only things I really want you to think about this week is the sorts of things that go into the prompt book. So stage directions, but what else do you think might need to go in there? Think about everything that happens in a show. We've got mics, we have lots of different classes, so you need to think about those classes. You need to think about what direction those classes are going on, what direction those classes are coming off. You need to think about if there's any overlap anywhere. You need to think about if the music is going to stop at a certain time. So if it's not going to run all the way through, you need to think about when that music's going to start fading, things like that. Obviously all things that we don't necessarily know yet, but it's just stuff for you to consider and have a think about. So just think about what other things might be needed, and then most importantly, go learn your stage directions. Okay, that's it. Have a good week. Don't forget that if you do have any questions or queries, you can always message Fee, he'll pass them on to me, or I think Fee has set up Zoom chats for us from this week. So you can always have a chat with me on Zoom, because sometimes it's just easier to get that response straight away. Okay, have a good weekend, lovelies.